Hello students, today we'll be discussing some problems. There are certain problems which we have not discussed so far. It may be the problems regarding tax credit or taxability on foreign companies as well as residential status of company. So these type of questions may also come for 6 marks section B question. So anyways, we will be discussing all these questions today. Now, look at this first question. Shivana Rajana Company derives the following income for the year ended 31/3/2019. They have given income from business is 90,000 and chargeable long-term capital gain from sale of vacant site is 30 lakhs. They're telling us to compute the total income and tax liability of the company for assessment year 1920 if the company is a domestic company and if the company is a foreign company. Now, here basically they have given two different incomes, that is income from business. Directly they have only given, there is no need to compute, and long-term capital gain they have given us 30 lakh and they're telling us to compute total income and tax liability of the company in both these cases, if the company is domestic and if the company is foreign company. Now, how do we find out total income? It is simple. There are two incomes. One is income from business and one you have income from capital gains. Income from business is 90 lakh and income from capital gains is long-term capital gain from sale of vacant site amount into 30 lakh. So both put together you have gross total income of 1.2 crores or 120 lakhs. Now again, you see whether there is any deductions under section 80G to 80LA. Since there is no information given in the question, there are no deductions. Then again, total income will also be 120 lakhs or 1.2 crores. So here in this case, the now here, sorry, there was some technical problem. The Wi-Fi was down for a while. Now see, you add income from business and income from capital gains, it will come to gross total income, and total income will also be same. So it will be 1.2 crore. So since your total income in this problem is more than 1 crore, so from total income, if it ranges from 1 crore to 10 crores, then again 7% of surcharge is applicable. That means in this problem, surcharge has to be computed after computing the tax. Now we have to find out the tax liability if the company is a domestic company. Now let us start with total income. So how do you compute tax liability? You have to record total income, which is 1.2 crore or 120 lakhs. Then again tax on LTCGC. Whenever you have long-term or short-term capital gains, it has to be taxed at a separate rate. So first we will compute tax on long-term capital gain. So long-term capital gain, how much they have given? Long-term capital gain is 30 lakhs. And long-term capital gains will be taxed at the rate of 20%. So 30 lakhs into 20% will be 6 lakh rupees. Then again, once you compute tax on long-term capital gain on balance of total income. So how much is your total income? 120 lakhs. So from 120 lakhs, you remove this 30 lakhs of long-term capital gains, your balance will be 90 lakhs. So on this 90 lakhs is the balance of total income. You again compute tax at the rate of 25%. It will come to 22 lakh 50,000. So the 6 lakh and 22 lakh 50,000, you put together or add together, your final tax amount will be 28 lakh 50,000. Now, once you get this tax amount, since in this problem you have total income more than 1 crore, you should also compute surcharge on this tax amount. So surcharge will be computed at 7%. So on this 28 lakh 50,000 multiplied into 7%, your surcharge applicable will be 1,99,500. Now, this tax amount is 28 lakh 50,000 plus surcharge is 1,99,500. So you have to add this 28 lakh 58,000 and 1,99,500. You will get a tax and surcharge amount putting together amounting to 30 lakh 49,500. So this on this tax and surcharge amount of 30 lakh 49,500, again you have to add health and education cess at 4%. So 30 lakh 49,500 into 4% will be 1,21,980. Then again tax and surcharge amount 30 lakh 49,500 plus you add health and education cess of at 4%, which is amounting to 121,980. You will get a tax liability of domestic company to be 31 lakh 71,480. Now in the same question, again they are telling what would be the tax liability if the company is foreign company. Now, if the company is foreign company, again same thing. You start with total income, which is 1.2 crores. So tax on long-term capital gain, again it will be taxed at 20%, 6 lakh. Now on balance of total income, again it is 40, sorry, this is not 25%, this is 40%. So on balance of total income, 120 lakhs minus 30 lakh you do, you will get 90 lakhs. So 90 lakhs you multiply into 40%. So that 40% on this 90 lakh will be 36 lakh. So this 36 lakh and 6 lakh you add together, the tax amount will be 42 lakhs. So once you get this tax amount, again as usual, you have to add surcharge on this tax amount. But in case of foreign company, if you have a total income ranging between 1 crore to 10 crores, then the surcharge applicable for those companies is 2%. So this 2% you can compute on this tax amount of 42 lakhs. So 42 lakh into 2% is 84,000. So 42 lakh plus 84,000 will be your tax and surcharge amount put together, 42 lakh 84,000. So again on this 42 lakh 84,000, again you have to add health and education cess at 4%. So 42 lakh 84,000 into 4% would be 1,71,360. So this 171,360 plus 4284 000 you add together, and your tax liability of foreign company would be 44 lakh 55,360. So this is what you have to understand. In case of foreign company, the tax rate applicable is 40% on total income. So that is what you have to remember, and the surcharge will be 2% if the income is total income is ranging from 1 crore to 10 crores. Then let us go to next problem. There is a Kichu Datsu Company Limited gives you the following information. Tax liability under 115 JB. That means 115 JB means MAT provisions is 1,10,000. So minimum alternative tax is 1,10,000. And normal tax liability. Normal tax liability means tax liability computed under normal provision, which is amounting to 1,50,000. So find the tax credit that can be utilized and also tax payable by the company. Now in this question directly they have only computed tax liability and given. So they are telling as per minimum alternative tax your tax is 1,10,000, and as per normal tax provision so your tax liability is 1,50,000. They're telling that you have to compute two things. One is tax credit and also tax payable. So how do we start this? We have to start computation of tax payable, make two columns, particular amount in rupees. So first you start with tax, normal tax liability or MAT, whichever is higher. So since we have both the tax, which is as per MAT provisions and normal provisions, higher of the two will be considered as tax liability. So which is higher? Normal tax liability is 1,50,000 and minimum alternative tax is 1,10,000. So among these two, highest is 1,50,000. Then again from this 1,50,000 we have to deduct tax credit. So how do you find out tax credit? Tax credit will be is equal to, the formula for tax credit is minimum alternative tax minus normal tax liability. So how much is MAT? MAT is 1,10,000 and normal tax liability is 1,50,000. So difference between these two is 40,000. So difference between 1,10,000 and 1,50,000 is 40,000. So this 40,000 can be utilized as tax credit in the assessment year. Now, how much will be your tax payable? 1,50,000 is your tax liability minus your tax credit, which you can utilize is 40,000. So from this 1,50,000, you deduct this 40,000. Your tax liability or tax payable amount will be and 1,10,000 for the year. See, please remember, whenever you are finding out tax credit, if the tax credit can be utilized in only those cases, only when your normal tax liability is higher than minimum alternative tax. In case if the minimum alternative tax is higher than normal tax liability, you cannot utilize the tax credit. It can only be carried forward for the next year. So this is what you have to remember. Then again, next question they have given, minimum alternative tax is 6,80,000 and normal tax liability is 3,09,000. Find a tax credit that can be utilized and final tax payable by the company for assessment year 2019-20. Now here also they have given same thing. We have to find out the tax payable by the company. So normal tax liability or MAT, whichever is higher, we have to consider. So normal tax is 3,09,000 and MAT is 6,18,000. Here the tax credit is difference between MAT and normal tax. So MAT is coming to 6,18,000 minus normal tax 3,09,000, and balance will also be 3,09,000. Here you cannot utilize the tax credit of 3,09,000 because here normal tax is not more or higher than MAT. Only I told you before also, if only if the normal tax liability is higher than MAT, the tax credit can be utilized. So this 3,09,000 it cannot be utilized in this year since your minimum alternative tax or MAT is more than your normal tax liability, but this 3,09,000 can be carried forward for the next assessment year. So this is how we have to solve the problem. So your highest of the following is the 6,18,000. Since tax credit cannot be utilized, your tax liability or tax payable amount will also remain same as 6,18,000. So this is how we have to solve this problem. Then again, we have an interesting question on residential status. See, look here, they have given Upendra Limited held 3 of its board meetings in India and 1 meeting in Nepal during the financial year 2018-19, that is relevant previous year. What is the residential status of Upendra Limited for the previous year 18-19 in the following cases? Now they have given two situations and they are asking us to see whether the company is resident or non-resident company. Now first case they again, if Upendra Limited is formed and registered in India, and if Upendra Limited is formed and registered in Nepal, and a turnover of the company during the previous year was 75 crores in first case and 40 crores in the second case. Now, first we will look what will be the residential status of Upendra Limited if it is formed and registered in India. Now, in this case, Upendra Limited company, if it is formed and registered in India, we consider it as Indian company. So, what is the definition of Indian company? Indian companies are those companies where it is formed and registered in India. And once you are a registered company or an Indian company, therefore your Indian company will always be a resident company. There is no question about Indian company being non-resident. So if the company is an Indian company, automatically it will be a resident company, irrespective of number of meeting held or whether you have place of effective management. That is all irrelevant. If the company can satisfy the condition of being an Indian company, or if the company is formed and registered in India, then automatically it will be a resident company. So in first case, that is in case A, the company will be a resident company. Now in case B, they have given Upendra Limited is formed and registered in Nepal. Now, if the company is formed and registered in Nepal, means it will be constituted or established or incorporated by the laws of a foreign company. So that means it will be a foreign company. It will be considered as a foreign company, and only it will be having its branch inside the India. Now, in this case, since Upendra Limited is a foreign company, now we very well know foreign company. Now, in case of foreign company, again, it can be either a resident company or a non-resident company. Foreign company, certain times it will be a resident company, and foreign company at certain times will be a non-resident company. So foreign company will be a resident company if it has its place of effective management in India. That means if all the major decisions are taken place in the previous year wholly in India, then again it is said to be a resident company. Then again, if the foreign company is said to be having its turnover more than 75 crores, the more than 75, more than 50 crores. Sorry, if the foreign company will also be a resident company, if the turnover has exceeded more than 50 crores and also has a place of effective management in India, then also it will be a resident company. So foreign company can be a resident company in two cases. Case number one, when the place of effective management is in only situated in India. In second case, where its turnover in the previous year has to exceed 50 crores, then it can be, if we satisfied these two conditions, it can be a resident company. Then when can the foreign company be a non-resident company? The foreign company will be a non-resident company when it has the when the turnover is not exceeding 50 crores, and also if the place of place of effective management is not situated wholly in the India, then in such case the foreign company will be a non-resident company. Now, in first case, the foreign company will be a resident company because it satisfied both conditions. If the turnover is also exceeding 50 crores and the place of effective management is also in India, because they have given in the question, out of 4 board meetings which it has done in the previous year, 3 of its meeting is held in India. That means it has place of effective management in India. Majority of its meeting is held in India, so it becomes a resident company. Then again, when the turnover is 40 crores, what will happen in second case? The turnover is not exceeding 50 crores. So even though it has place of effective management in India, it is said to be a foreign company, which is a non-resident company. So this is how we have to find out the residential status of the companies. So hope you have understood. In case if there is any doubt, please to ask me. Thank you.